You know how some people bring wine or flowers to family dinners. I bring a PowerPoint. Let me explain. My girlfriend's dad, let's call him Richard, because it fits, has a habit of weaponizing politeness. You know the type. Just joking insults wrapped in forced laughter and casual cruelty. Every dinner with her family is like a live performance of Gaslight, the musical. Last night, I hit my limit. First, Richard greeted me with, "Still unemployed? Or do you just work in tech?" Har har. Then he spent the next 2 hours comparing me to her ex. "Mike knew how to change a tire," he said. Like that's the bar for masculinity. So this time I came prepared. During dessert, I cleared my throat and said, "If I may, I'd like to present some relationship metrics." Out came my laptop. Slide 1. Why I'm actually a pretty great boyfriend. Cue bullet points: dog lover, steady job, built her IKEA bookshelf without crying. Slide 2. Comparative analysis. Me versus Mike. I had graphs, bar charts, a Venn diagram showing how I share all the positive traits but none of the emotional constipation. Silence. Then her mom laughed. Richard turned beet red. Girlfriend? Trying very hard not to grin. Next month's dinner is at their house again. I've already started working on my sequel presentation. Why passive aggression isn't a personality. Wish me luck. My cousin Jenna recently found her calling. Translation: she started filming herself doing yoga in my living room while shouting affirmations to a ring light. Why my living room? Because your lighting is more aesthetic and your furniture looks vintage poor, which performs great. I rent from IKEA. She asked to crash for a few days between apartments. That was 3 weeks ago. She now refers to my couch as her meditation nook and uses my bathroom mirror as a makeup tutorial set. It reached critical mass last Tuesday when I came home to find her filming a what I eat in a day video using my groceries, including my leftover lasagna, which she renamed budget-conscious wellness pasta. I snapped. The next morning, I dressed in my worst tank top, walked into her filming session eating a raw onion like an apple, and loudly asked if her followers knew she cries during The Bachelor. Then I started photobombing her content. Every single video. Sometimes I wore a Chewbacca mask. Once I played kazoo in the background. Another time I just stood completely still behind her like a horror movie extra. Her followers loved it. Thought it was a bit. Engagement went up. She moved out yesterday to focus her brand in a more curated space. She left me one parting gift, a signed ring light. I use it now for reading. In the bathroom. With the door locked. I didn't know what true rage was until I met Harold from the HOA. It started innocently enough. My mailbox, which I'd installed myself, was deemed non-compliant with community visual standards. Translation: it wasn't beige. It was matte black, sleek, modern, sexy if mailboxes could be sexy. Harold left a strongly worded letter in it. Irony noted. I ignored it. He followed up with a second notice and a photo. He had crouched in my azaleas to get it. That's when I knew. This wasn't about the mailbox. This was a turf war. So I repainted the mailbox neon pink. I added googly eyes. I printed out fake Yelp reviews and taped them on. Best mailbox I've ever seen. 10 out of 10 would deliver again. USPS guy. Next morning, Harold knocked on my door, visibly shaking. "This is vandalism," he said. I told him it was interpretive art. Expression of suburban angst. He filed a formal complaint. I showed up at the next HOA meeting with a PowerPoint, yes, again, titled, "The Evolution of Neighborhood Aesthetics. A Case Study in Modern Mail Receptacles." Half the room applauded. One lady took photos. HOA voted to table the matter, pending community consensus. The mailbox is still pink. Last week, someone added a tiny disco ball. This is no longer a war. It's a movement. I've always believed that you can tell a lot about a person by how they navigate a Costco sample station. Me? I've elevated it to performance art. See, about 6 months ago I realized something magical. If you say the words flavor profile and subtle finish, sample attendants will beg you to try more. I created an identity, Brandon, regional food blogger and freelance flavor consultant. I even made a fake Instagram for Brandon Bites. Total followers, 47. Mostly bots. Every Saturday, I dress in my tasting outfit, a cardigan and those round glasses that scream, I review ethically sourced pepper. I'd nod pensively after every bite, then say something like, surprisingly complex for a turkey slider. It worked. I got thirds. Fourths. Once, a rep gave me an entire unopened box of goat cheese croquettes. Then last weekend, disaster. A woman behind the stand smiled and said, oh my gosh, I follow you. Brandon Bites, right? Panic. Immediate. I stammered something about going incognito and tried to pivot. But she pulled out her phone. You posted these last week. Nope. Definitely not me. That was actual Brandon Bites, a real influencer. She called over her manager. I ran. Full cart and all. Security didn't chase me, but the sample people all gave me the stink eye on my way out. I now shop at Sam's Club. Their turkey sliders suck, but at least no one knows my face. I don't ask for much in life. A decent Wi-Fi connection, 8 hours of sleep, and my one banana a day mid-morning around 10:15. That banana is my ritual. My moment of zen between emails and spreadsheets. So when it vanished 3 days in a row, I spiraled into full detective mode. Day 4, I labeled the banana property of me. Touch this and suffer. That only seemed to encourage them. It vanished faster. So I escalated. Day 5's banana had a note. Banana contains experimental laxatives. For science. Gone. At this point, I was both enraged and weirdly impressed. Who steals a banana after that note? Day 6, I set a trap. I replaced my banana with a decoy made of yellow Play-Doh, sculpted with care and stuffed in an actual peel. It looked convincing until it didn't. I watched from behind the break room coffee machine as Karen from accounts took it, peeled it, paused, sniffed, then dropped it like it bit her. Victory? Sort of. That afternoon, I got an HR email titled Food Safety and Workplace Pranks. I denied everything, obviously. Karen couldn't prove a thing. Play-Doh leaves no trace. Next morning, my banana was still there. Untouched. Glorious. I ate it slowly, triumphantly. Made full eye contact with Karen the entire time. Let this be a lesson, banana bandit, you may steal my fruit, but you'll never steal my justice. I live in a condo complex where every unit gets one reserved parking spot. Mine is clearly marked. Painted. Numbered. Obvious. So naturally, my neighbor Chad keeps parking in it. At first, I left a polite note. Hey, I think you might have missed your spot. No big deal. Next day, Chad's car again, smugly parked like it belonged there. Note 2 was slightly more assertive, followed by sticky notes, then a printed map of the parking layout laminated. He responded by doing nothing. Zero acknowledgement. Zero shame. I think he made eye contact with me while locking my spot from across the lot. So I went nuclear. I ordered a custom street sign. Reserved for local hero. Chad, park here and admit defeat ***. Installed it on a Saturday. Sunday morning, cars back. Under my sign. Now it was personal. I bought a bright orange traffic cone and painted Nope on it in big black letters. Topped it with a tiny American flag for flair. Put it in the center of the spot. He moved the cone and parked anyway. That night, I snapped. I dressed in full business attire, printed a fake citation from the condo parking enforcement division, and slapped it on his windshield with a giant red stamp that said revoked. Next morning, the car was gone. It's been 2 weeks. I still see him circling the lot some nights like a banished raccoon searching for scraps. Stay away, Chad. My spot. My rules. I didn't start this war, but I sure as hell ended it. It began with a meatball sub. My meatball sub. Homemade, marinara perfection, wrapped in foil, clearly labeled with my name, do not eat. Not yours. Guess what? Someone ate it. I was furious. Not because of the theft, okay, also that, but because they left the empty foil behind. Like a calling card. A greasy, taunting, tomato-stained middle finger. So I launched Operation Cold Storage. Day 1. I brought lunch in a Tupperware labeled liver and onions. Mom's recipe, smells worse heated. Inside? Chocolate cake. Gone. Day 2, a tuna salad sandwich with a post-it reading contains cat meds, do not microwave. It disappeared within the hour. Now it was personal. I escalated to psychological warfare. Day 3, I packed a sandwich with bright blue food dye injected into the mayo. Edible, yes. But if you eat it, your tongue turns into a smurf for the next 12 hours. Disappeared. That afternoon, Jim from accounting showed up to a Zoom meeting with his webcam off and mumbled something about bad lighting. The thefts stopped after that. Completely. I never outed Jim. Didn't need to. Everyone figured it out when he accidentally brought a frozen dinner and stared at it like it had betrayed him. The fridge remains quiet now. Respectful. Cold. Exactly how it should be. I work on the 6th floor. The stairwell between floors 5 and 6 has been unofficially claimed by a guy named Trevor as his vape break sanctuary. Every day, twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon, he vapes up a storm right outside the door. It smells like someone set fire to a watermelon-flavored bath bomb. I asked nicely, "Hey man, could you maybe vape outside instead?" He laughed. "It's just steam, bro." Steam. Bro. So I stopped being nice. I bought vape juice online. Not to use, oh no. I found a vendor that sells novelty flavors. One was Brussels sprouts and morning breath. Another? Cabbage aftermath. Guess which one I stealth swapped into Trevor's tank one afternoon when he left it charging in the common area? Next break, he took a long, dramatic puff like some sort of vape wizard. Paused. Cough. Another puff. Face twisted. Dude, what the hell? By puff 4, the stairwell smelled like expired coleslaw. People started complaining to HR. Trevor blamed his device. Bought a new one. So I did it again. 2 devices later, he finally moved his vape breaks outside. Peace returned to the stairwell. Fresh air. Silence. And the faint, lingering scent of justice with notes of boiled cabbage. There's a guy at my local dive bar, let's call him Todd, who treats karaoke night like it's his personal concert residency. Every Thursday, without fail, Todd sings 6 to 8 songs, sometimes back to back. Always power ballads. Always with deep, unnecessary eye contact. He has one move, gripping the mic stand like it's holding him back from greatness. And God help you if you sign up before him. He'll accidentally spill his drink on the request sheet or claim the machine glitched. I endured this for months. Then, one fateful Thursday, fueled by beer and vengeance, I had an idea. I signed up for a surprise. When my turn came, I stepped up and belted out a custom parody of Bohemian Rhapsody, titled, Todd, Let Other People Sing. It was a full roast. I had lyrics about his fake vibrato, the way he hits high notes like he's being chased, and his 5-minute version of Imagine that made Lennon roll in his grave. The bar. Lost. People were howling. Even the bartender dropped a glass. Todd looked like someone had unplugged his spotlight. He left halfway through my second chorus. Next week, Todd came back, sang once, then handed the mic to someone else with a sheepish little bow. Balance restored. Long live rock and roll justice. There's a guy at my gym who treats the mirror like it's his soulmate. You know the type. Flexes after every set, re-racks dumbbells with one hand while admiring his own reflection with the other. Shirt always half lifted, revealing abs that scream. I do sit-ups and post about it. It wasn't just annoying. It was territorial. He'd stand right in front of the dumbbell rack so no one else could get weights without ducking under his bicep worship. I tolerated it for a while, until one Monday I had enough. I showed up early, wiped down the mirror with glass cleaner until it sparkled, then carefully taped a sign across it that read, temporarily closed for self-love. Please admire yourself elsewhere. The manager laughed, said nothing. Mirror guy showed up 10 minutes later, did his usual hair sweep, then froze. He stood there, confused, betrayed, looked at the sign, then at himself, then back at the sign. He moved to a side mirror, did a few curls, then left. So naturally I kept it going. Next week's sign said, mirror experiencing existential crisis, please reflect internally. Week after that, you look great. No further validation needed. He eventually relocated to a different part of the gym. Peace was restored. Now, when I lift, I get to see something way better than my reflection. Actual open floor space. And one man's shattered illusion of gym fame. My roommate Jake believes room temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. He's the kind of guy who walks around shirtless in January and calls it cozy. I, meanwhile, have blood like a lizard. I like a crisp 68, thank you very much. We tried compromising. We set it to 75. But somehow every time I left the apartment and came back, boom. Saunaland. So I started adjusting it back at night. Jake responded by leaving notes on the thermostat. Don't mess with it. I can't sleep when I'm cold. Cool. I can't sleep when I'm being slow roasted. Then he got sneaky, hid the remote, changed the lockbox code, even downloaded the smart app to his phone. That's when I got creative. I froze 2 mugs of water, placed them on top of the thermostat and wrote, "This is where I make my ice now." I started casually sitting on the couch in a winter coat, mittens, and ski goggles, sipping hot tea like a wartime general. I offered Jake a cup and said, for morale? The turning point? I set up a tiny desk fan to blow directly on the thermostat every night. He couldn't figure out why the heat wouldn't kick in. Eventually, he cracked. Fine. Set it to 72. Just stop being weird. Victory. Now it's a comfortable 70. And every time Jake complains, I just hand him a blanket and whisper, winter is coming. Every morning, I take the elevator up to the 10th floor. Every morning, Greg from floor 6 gets on, vaping in the elevator. He doesn't ask. Doesn't wait. Just hits his little fog machine like we're in a nightclub circa 2007. His excuse? It's just water vapor, man. Chill. I did not chill. I coughed politely for weeks. I dropped hints. I even wore a mask with little cartoon lungs on it. Nothing. One day he leaned against the wall and said, "You should try it sometime, it relaxes the soul." So the next day I came prepared. I brought my thermos, filled with boiling water. As soon as Greg stepped in and vaped, I opened the lid and let steam billow out dramatically. Then I looked him dead in the eye and said, "I prefer my fog organic." Greg looked confused, then mildly concerned. Next day, I upgraded to eucalyptus oil in the thermos. Now the whole elevator smelled like a forest spa. Greg vaped anyway, so I brought a Bluetooth speaker, played rainforest sounds, added fake chanting, gave the whole elevator a low hum of wellness retreat in the Himalayas. By day 3, other people started joining in. One guy brought incense. HR sent an email titled, "Aromatherapy is not an approved elevator activity." But Greg? He stopped vaping indoors. Now he waits until he's outside. And I still bring the eucalyptus. For the soul. Last summer, I threw what I proudly call the grillstravaganza of 23. We're talking ribs, brisket, jalapeno poppers, smoked, seared, and seasoned to perfection. It was invitation only. Backyard. Controlled guest list. Nothing fancy, just friends, beer, and enough meat to legally qualify as a small butcher shop. Then it happened. One of the racks of ribs disappeared. Gone. Vanished from the warming tray like it had teleported. At first, I thought maybe someone moved it inside. But no one knew anything. So I did what any rational adult would do. I opened a full investigation. I asked questions. When did you last see the ribs? Were they sauced or dry? I made people retrace their steps. My cousin joked that I needed a whiteboard. So I got one. I drew a timeline, marked movements, circled suspects. The phrase Meatgate was born. The next day, I reviewed the footage from my doorbell cam, and there it was. My neighbor, Rob, walking through the gate with a red Solo cup and a full tray of ribs tucked under a dish towel like some kind of barbecue bandit. I confronted him the next morning. He claimed confusion and said he thought they were his. From his party. At his house. He lives 3 houses down. He didn't even have a party. Now, every cookout I host features one tray labeled. Not Rob's. Petty? Maybe. Delicious? Absolutely. I live in a duplex with paper-thin walls. My upstairs neighbor, Dennis, has a hobby, blasting EDM remixes of 2000s pop songs every night from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Not weekends. Every night. I asked nicely. He shrugged. That's my peak energy zone. Cool, Dennis. I guess insomnia is mine. So I fought back. At 6 a.m. I began my own hobby, karate training for beginners. Not real karate. Just a YouTube video I looped at max volume while I stomped in socks across the hardwood floors yelling KIA. Next, I played toddler tantrum compilations on loop. Then I borrowed my friend's dog and encouraged him to bark at the ceiling whenever the bass kicked in. Dennis retaliated by increasing volume. So I went full Beethoven, hooked up a subwoofer and blasted orchestral scores from war movies. One night, he knocked on my door. Are you okay? I smiled. Just sinking my energy zone. He moved out 3 weeks later. The new upstairs tenant is a nurse who works nights and sleeps during the day. We are now allies. We communicate through text and respectful silence. Some say the Cold War ended without conflict. I say it ended with one man in a bathrobe holding a Bluetooth speaker above his head blasting Ride of the Valkyries at 5 a.m. And that man was me. At my office, booking a conference room is like calling dibs on the last slice of pizza, technically first come, but guaranteed to cause drama. Enter Darla, director of something vaguely important. Darla has a habit of barging into my booked room mid-meeting with, "Oh, I didn't see your name on the sheet." Because she removes the sheet. 3 weeks. For meetings hijacked. One passive-aggressive post-it war. Then I snapped. I booked the room for 5 consecutive days under the name Spiritual Grounding Session, noise-free required. I dimmed the lights. Brought a yoga mat. Diffused lavender oil. Every time Darla peeked in, I was either deep in breathwork or humming softly with my eyes closed. I printed a sign that said, "Interrupting disrupts the healing frequency." Darla started booking other rooms. Then one day, she burst in mid-session and said, "We need the space for a quarterly review." I opened one eye, sipped my herbal tea, and whispered, "Not all reviews are quarterly. Some are internal." She left. I kept the room. The next week, an email went out from facilities. Please respect conference room bookings. Also, we are officially requesting that no more essential oils be used indoors. Worth it. I'm now a legend on floor 3. Namaste, Darla. Every morning, same routine. Coffee in hand, earbuds in, nice stroll to work. Except for him. This guy, let's call him Elbow McShoulder, comes jogging down the sidewalk like he owns it. Never moves over. Never slows down. Always clips me with a shoulder check and keeps running like he's in an action movie. The first time, I thought it was an accident. The 5th time, I knew it was a choice. So I made mine. I went to a costume shop. Bought a full suit of medieval armor. Yes. Chainmail. Breastplate. Helmet. The works. Next morning, I waited. He came jogging. Saw me clanking down the sidewalk like a knight on a quest for vengeance. I took up exactly half the path and braced for impact. He bounced off me like a rubber ball. He stumbled. He looked terrified. "Dude, what the hell?" I lifted my visor. "Sir Jogsalot, thou hast crossed the wrong squire." Next day, he ran on the street. I didn't wear the armor again. Just once. But word spread. Now people give me a wide berth. And Elbow McShoulder? He nods politely when he sees me. Chivalry isn't dead. It just wears steel-plated shoulder pads. There's an unspoken rule at the dog park: if your dog drops a deuce, you pick it up. Everyone follows it. Except Todd. Todd wears loafers to the park and thinks picking up after his golden doodle is beneath him. He pretends not to notice. Looks at the sky. Ties his shoe. Wanders off like he's not personally responsible for landmines on the field. One day, my dog stepped in Todd's dog's gift. I had to clean her paw with a Starbucks napkin and tears. So I declared war. I trained my dog to sniff out Todd's dog's poop. Every time she found one, I marked it with a tiny orange flag labeled, "Property of Todd, do not disturb." I started bringing 5 flags per visit. Todd noticed. Said nothing. Then I brought 10. Set them up like a mini golf course. Other dog owners started asking, "Who's Todd?" I just shrugged and said, "Ask the flags." Eventually, Todd confronted me. "You think this is funny?" "Yes. And educational." That afternoon, he walked around with a baggie. First time I ever saw it. The flags retired in peace. But I still carry them in my pocket just in case justice needs planting. There's this woman at work, Angela. queen of the fake migraine. Every Monday, like clockwork. Sorry, won't make it in today, my head's splitting. Which is weird because her Instagram shows her hiking, brunching, and doing goat yoga during said migraines. Meanwhile, I'm covering her reports. Again. And again. So I started documenting her sick days in haiku. Each time she bailed, I sent our manager a status update email. Angela's sick day. Coffee, mountains, dog selfies. Migraine looks peaceful. Then, 2 weeks and counting. Angela avoids the Zoom. Yoga is strong cure. Manager never responded. But the office loved them. People started sending me lines. Someone printed one and taped it to the break room fridge. Angela didn't catch on until I wrote one with a little twist. Angela's still out. Spreadsheet shows no migraines, just trip booked to Cancun. That one? HR called a meeting. She wasn't fired, but she's now on a new, transparent scheduling protocol. And me? I now write team updates in haiku every Friday. It's tradition. Angela even asked if I could write one about her dog's birthday party. I did, but it was very passive-aggressive. In my college lecture hall, there was a guy, let's call him Kevin, who insisted on watching Netflix at full volume. No headphones. Just open laptop, speakers blaring, binging Peaky Blinders during a neuroscience lecture like he was studying criminal psychology in real time. We asked him to mute it. He said, I learn better with background noise. The professor gave up. So did most of us. Not me. Next class, I sat behind Kevin and pulled up Teletubbies on my laptop. Full volume. He looked back. I smiled. Sorry. I learn better with background noise. Next class? I upped the ante. I watched a live-streamed sheep shearing competition. Then a mukbang of a guy eating raw onions. Then Barney's Magical Christmas. Volume cranked. Kevin was fuming. Finally, he spun around and snapped, Can you shut that off? Professor, without looking up, said, Kevin, are you asking for a no-noise policy? Checkmate. Next week, Kevin brought headphones. I retired the sheep. But Barney lives on in my nightmares. When I moved to Australia, I got a new phone number. Within a week, I started getting calls, angry ones. Guys yelling about job sites, missing trucks, unpaid invoices. Turns out my number used to belong to a construction foreman named Brad who apparently ghosted everyone. At first, I explained. Wrong number, sorry. But they kept calling. One guy even asked where to unload 3 tons of gravel. I called Brad. Found his new number online. Told him what was going on. His response? Not my problem, mate. Sucks to be you. Cool. So the next time I got a delivery call, I didn't correct them. Yeah, I said. Drop it right out front. The guy in the blue Ford will meet you. There was no blue Ford. No one met them. Because they dumped 3 tons of sand on Brad's old driveway. I know because I drove by. His new house. His new lawn. Covered. He called me. Screamed. I said, not my problem, mate. Sucks to be you. Since then, not one wrong number. Peace. Sweet, sandy peace. Thanks for watching, guys. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. Tell us a story about a time you met someone really impudent in the comments.